Hey folks, this is Chuck, the Brownie camera guy, and today I'm wanting to talk about the Brownie 620 Model E. This camera is a workhorse of a camera, built very, very well in the UK. It was the Model E is part of a whole series of cameras. There's a Model C, a Model D, the 620 series that was built in the UK. This one was introduced in 1947. The first, the first model of this Model E had vertical stripes on the front. Then it was changed to this horizontal pattern in 1953 until 1957. It's a 620 film. The picture size is kind of a nice size. It's a 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch, so this can be contact printed. And in fact, this was intended to be contact printed in the first place. It was. I don't think the images were really intended to be enlarged. The lens is a little bit different on this Brownie than on many, many other Brownies. It is a simple meniscus lens. It has an f11 f-hole, but it has a 100mm lens, meaning that contributes to it focusing at a little bit further distance than other Brownies. This focuses at about 10 feet and beyond. However, it has a feature that we're going to go over in a minute that is called a portrait lens, but we'll go over that in 1 second. It also has a single blade shutter. So this is a metal body. It has two what's called brilliant viewfinders. And the portrait lens, let's see if we can show this, and I'm going to go over here to my computer. This, you can see right here, there are two pull-out. There's one in the front. Let's see if I can do that without it. There's one in the front, and there's one in the back. The one in the front is a portrait lens. It slides across. I don't think that's going to show inside, but it slides across it across the front of the lens behind the safety glass, and this allows you to focus, so to speak, between 5 and 10 feet. So that overcomes the 100mm far away focus. This one here, this pull-out, is a yellow filter. So when you're shooting black and white film, it will darken up the skies a little bit. It's a nice little feature to have. This button right here, and let me see if I can show you that. There's an I and a B. Well, of course, the B keeps the shutter open. It's a bulb setting, so when you it keeps the shutter open. I think you can see that. And of course, on I, it is a regular. Works as a regular shutter at about maybe 1/40th or 1/50th of a second. So you push in and it's done and it resets. So you can do multiple exposures. Now, to overcome that on this camera, which not many Brownies have, there's a little lock. If I push that down, I cannot push the shutter release. So we'll move that back up. This also has can accept a 2-pin flash, and a feature that is not on very many Brownies at all is this one right here underneath the shutter, And that is a shutter release, so you can use a shutter release cable, which is a very, very nice feature. Let me see. I think that sort of covers the features. Oh yeah, there's also what's happening to my light? Nah, that's all right. There's also a for a tripod socket and tripod socket, so you can shoot horizontal or vertical. Now let's go through loading it. This has a very simple spring. Just open it like so, and you can see it says use, let's see if I can get that, use Kodak 620 films. So to get the back out, you can see it's stuck. All right, it's apparently stuck. The winding knob must pull away from the body, which sometimes these get a little bit stuck. So you have to carefully pull it away from the body, like so. So let me see if I can show you that again. You pull out easily and carefully. Sometimes you have to twist it when you do it, and it pulls away from the body. Next, this comes out, and you can see the inside of the camera. Yeah, okay. So we're going to put that to the side. There is an upper and a lower. Now this here is where the winder is going to go into. So this is going to be for your take-up spool. You must use a 620 take-up spool for this camera. Always. You can't get away with a 120. Now, I always re-roll film. Some cameras you can force 120 through, even though it's a 620 camera. Some cameras you can't. This camera can sometimes accept 620 film, a 120 film, I'm sorry. I've had it jam in this camera though, so I never take a chance. I always re-roll my 120 film onto 620 spools. I don't want to worry about the camera jamming. So this is a re-rolled 620. So in somewhat subdued light, you break open the paper, even if it's 120 or 620. If you've re-rolled it, I imagine you put paper around it. And this is the beginning of the roll. You then, let's see if I can do this so that to show you very, very well. You put it into the spool so that there's a sort of a little holder right here. You put the hole of the spool in that, and then the other end just lays in place. You carefully take out the paper. There's a lot of leader, so you don't have to worry, but you try to not let it go all over the place. Then you take the end here. Let's see if I can show that well. And you will notice that there are slots in the, that shows it. There are slots in there. You want to take the spool out, roll it so that it is on it, say 1 or 2 turns, tight. Then you put it into the space. Again, there is a little nib there, and the spool goes into that. and slips into space. Now this is a loaded film holder ready to go. Now you can see again there is the spool end that is exposed. There is also a little bit here, a little writing there that says key side. This is called the winding key. Okay, so this gets carefully slid in. Then before I close it, I'll push that back in, and I'll make sure that the paper is going to advance, which it is. I don't advance it though. I close the back. Then there is a little window here. So you wind. Now watch how much I'm winding this, folks. And I can see stuff going through the little red window, like writing stuff. Writing. Okay. There's the arrows. You can see more arrows. The arrows mean that the film is about ready to be there. There's some dots going by. Dots, 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 dots. There's the number 1. Now in some films that will be a yellow background. This is a black, this particular film for demonstration purposes. This is the film I always use. This is a black background. And there's the number 1. This camera is now ready to shoot. Okay. Now a couple of hints on shooting, and I'll just try to show you here. When you're shooting this, it is, let's see if I can do this a little bit more up like so. It's sometimes good to hold it against your body. Look down into the viewfinder if you use the viewfinder. Click. And then what I do is I'm always in the, I'm in the habit of then winding the film. So I'm going to now advance the film. And then there's the little dots. And there is the number 2. Let's see. Hold on. There is the number 2. Right there. I think you can see that. And I'm ready for the next shot. When I'm shooting a horizontal, again, I usually press it against my body to stabilize it, because this is, you have to remember, this is a 1/40th, 1/50th of a second shutter. Press, advance. Then I'm ready for the next shot. You can also use the lock after every shot so that, again, you put the lock in place, you can't shoot. When using the portrait lens, you want to take a nice portrait, you can either put it onto a tripod or you just lift it up. Now you have to shoot, I'm going to unlock it. Now you have to shoot the subject between 5 and 10 feet away, and you can get a fairly nice portrait. This camera takes, these lenses in this camera, this particular camera takes nice sharp images. I mean, they're really, it's really amazing. So on a nice cloudy day, like with puffy clouds, if you're using a say a black and white film, try the yellow filter, and that will make the that will separate the blue from the sky from the clouds, and it makes for a very nice dramatic sky. All right, so let's say we've shot the whole roll. Okay, I'm just going to advance this as if I've shot the whole roll. And in fact, there is going to be 8 photographs on this. There's the 8th. I take my photo. Boom. Okay, then you can hear it going. You make sure that the paper is all off of it and onto the take-up spool. Make sure that it's on. It does not hurt to overwind it. Next, let's move this down again. We'll open that up. You need to pull out the winding knob. This whole assembly comes out. There is our finished film, and try to do this in subdued light. Lift up on the winding side and pull it out. Tighten it a bit by pulling on it so that it's nice and tight on there. You'll find sometimes that it does not wind on well. That's why I'm really stressing to do this in very subdued light or in a dark room when you take this film out. Here's this. You can lick it. That gets nice and wet. This holds it in place. Now, what I also normally do is that I will, and I don't have any right in front of me, I normally will wrap this in aluminum foil to keep it completely light tight until I'm either ready to process it or send it off for processing if it's color. That's the Brownie 620 Model E. Then there's your next 620 spool. If you send this out for processing, make absolutely sure you get the film, the spool back, right? And that way you always have at least 2 620 spools to use. And let me put that to the side. And let's put this back together. So there it is, folks. That's the 620 Brownie Model E. Talk to you later.